All right, so episode 7 of Agatha All Along was Groundhog's Day on acid. That was really, literally trippy. So, obviously, this was all about Lilia. Um, I'm actually surprised that Billy and Agatha were even able to enter the trial, let alone start the trial, even though it was Lilia's trial. So, um, Billy and Agatha are walking in silence down the yellow brick road, and she's trying to get Billy to talk to her. And he asks about Rio, and she doesn't want to mention anything about Rio, which should be a red flag. But why don't you want to talk about Rio, who she is? But we find out at the end what everyone has already known, pretty much, that she's Mistress Death. But it was mostly, so they get to the trial, and Billy takes a stab at tarot reading. And then Agatha just willy-nilly is throwing cards around because that'll work. And Billy even points out that, well, you don't know math. And I don't know why he thought Salem would have taught her math, because pretty sure algebra did not exist in Salem. I mean, not to say that there weren't mathematicians who knew algebra, but the common people, probably not. But anyway, so higher math was probably, let alone card reading, was probably not a skill set that was readily available. So, but it was mostly about Jen and Lilia. Lilia would forget what she tells people, and then, so we find out later that she quickly is telling Jen everything she knows. That the son of the Scarlet Witch, threw us off the road, and Jen is like, wait, what? What's happening? Now, while they're walking, we see that Jen has an out. She sees an out to the end of the witch's road. I assume it's just for her because she won her first trial. So technically she can leave the road. She got what she wanted. But Lilia convinces her to come with her. And like I said, we see all sorts of back and forth. Billy is reading Lilia's mind when they get there, and Lilia's a little perturbed at Billy for what he did, and he's trying to explain himself, but he's also responding to what she says in her mind. And so basically she's dealing with a lot of stuff by time hopping. And so we see her with her mentor, and through her mentor and through the entire show, it's implied that she's going to die at the end of it, which makes me think that absolutely not, she will not die at the end. I mean, it was left ambiguous, but I don't think she's going to die. Or if she does die, that she will be brought back by the road. Because like she mentioned to the Salem 7, she just won her trial. She beat her trial. So Jen and Lilia managed to get around the Salem 7. They get to her trial, And right as Billy is saying, I wish Lilia were here. And slowly you're seeing everything that she said throughout the season come back to this point. And basically, she's coming to terms with the fact that as a seer, she bounces around in time because time is not linear. Even though most people think it is, because that's how we live. People like her, she's a seer, so of course, she does see the future, the past, and it gets all garbled together. So she's come to terms with that, which she says that means the end, which Jen thinks means the end of the road and that she's getting her power back. But she's a seer. She has her power. She never lost her power. And even from the beginning, when Agatha came to get her, she had her power. So the question is, what the hell? Now, she never answered Billy whether she was the... Oh, wait, she did answer Billy's question as to whether she's the one who put the sigil on him. Because he asked her, am I William or am I Billy? So it's this strange thing with Billy that he's both. So he actually does have William's memories, because when she mentioned the bar mitzvah, he didn't look at her like, what bar mitzvah? What are you talking about? It was more of a, yeah, actually I do remember that type look. So he finds out that Lilia was the one who put the sigil on him. Now, Lilia's also perturbed that they were all dressed like popular depictions of witches, because we found out earlier when they rode their brooms that the reason it's not done a lot is because it's become part of popular culture, so it kind of destroyed the fun of, riding a broom. So same thing, pop culture, and she absolutely hates it. So she assures Billy, we're good. And she's using memories of her mentor, which it seemed like it was the present her going back into the past. And of course, her mentor is totally chill with the fact that she's looking at an old woman who is her student and doesn't bat an eye that a fever took them. I can only assume it was scarlet fever. I don't know what year this was, so whatever. But she was just totally cool about, the fact that, oh yeah, you're actually dead and I warned you, but it didn't do any good. So that's why she doesn't like having her power, because, well, what's the point of having her power if it doesn't change anything? Which, you gotta admit, that is true. I mean, if you have the power and you tell people this is going to happen, and they're actually able to prevent it, then why wouldn't you? But she makes Lilia understand that death comes for us all. That is the end destination for everybody. We all die. So she and her coven were perfectly cool with dying, which on the one hand, is really big of them to do that. On the other hand, if you actually had a chance, if you knew in advance you were going to die, would you just be like, okay, or would you try to stop it if you could? So she made Lilia understand that you know, death is going to come for her too. It's just a matter of what you do with that time until you die. Which, again, seriously implies that she's going to die at the end of this episode. Which I think, just like Rio being the black heart of the group, was a misdirect because it's Billy. If this is a misdirect as well, and she survives this. So, she at first reads Billy's fortune. You know, he has to ask a question, and everybody's trying to say, how do we survive this? How do we survive this? And then Billy asks, am I William or Billy? Which is the first time you see a actual disconnect, because it was implied last episode that Billy was just pretending to be William because he ended up in William's body. But what if he did have William's memories? Because, like I said, he didn't question the bar mitzvah that Lilia mentioned, unless his parents told him about. So he knows from that. But it was more of a, yeah, I do remember that. So at first it was thought that this was supposed to be for him. And then Lilia realized that, no, she's the one who's supposed to do a tarot reading of herself. So she did all that, which you see from her previous trials and previous interactions, where these strange things that she said made sense. Well, most of them anyway. And one of her time jumps was Rio, and realizing that Rio is death. And so that's when she finally speaks it, and they look at Agatha and she's like, I always like bad boys. Which is both hilarious, but also it's gotta be so annoying that none of them realize that Rio is death. And they should have. I mean, why else would she cackle when they did the Ouija board, who's with us tonight? And it said death. Which obviously Agatha knew exactly who it meant, and Rio cackles. So, now, Lilia utters a phrase after she defeats her trial. She successfully shows that her end game is death. And that's when she mentions that Rio is death. And, so then she utters a sentence, I never in a million years, and anyone who knows what an Iron Maiden is, nobody would ever think that this sentence would be uttered. Everybody into the Iron Maiden. Because that is the last place anybody wants to go. It's a torture device. So, torture into death, but still. So everybody goes into Iron Maiden except for Lilia. She stays behind because she wants to do something good with her powers. Like the old lady said, like her mentor said, what are you going to do with your power? With the little time you have left. And her response is, I really liked being a witch. So she sees all the Salem 7. They're all in their animal forms. And then she mentions that it's never a good idea to attack a witch after she's successfully completed a trial. And Lilia just did. So she turns the towers from reverse to upright, which sends the Salem 7 back into the roof, which I assume that there are still plenty of swords for them to get impaled on. And she's hanging on. And I think at first, okay, she's going to somehow manage to set it upright so she can walk away. But she lets go. And we see her falling like we saw her in one of her visions. But this time she's accepting of it. And all I can say is, because they are so hammering us with the fact that she's going to end up dead, makes me wonder if, even if she dies initially, whether she isn't going to come back at the end of the road. So, that's pretty much how it ends. Let me see if there's anything that I am missing. Because like I said, it was like Groundhog's Day on acid. It was very, very strange how they bounced around. And, so basically, at the end of her life, she finally accepted her power. Which is why I think that that's probably the lesson that she needed from the road. She said, her mentor even asked, "You have your power. What is it that you want from the road?" And she wanted relevance. And how can you get more relevant than saving your friends, your coven? But I really think that that's going to be a twist, that she's going to survive because the road is going to see her value and bring her back. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Alice. What's going to happen with Sharon Davis? I have no clue. I would hope that if this is a somewhat malevolent road, that it would take Sharon Davis and put her back where she belongs, which is outside of the road, because she was never a witch. Or maybe they'll make her a witch. Who knows? So of the people that we've seen, I think everybody's done a trial. Well, wait a minute. Because it depends on who you decide that previous trial was for. Was it for Billy or was it for Agatha? Because again, in Agatha's trial, which is when Billy showed his power, Agatha was just starting to get her power. I mean, she had a little bit, which I thought was Alice's, but it could be hers starting to come. Or that it was meant for Billy for him to admit that, to finally see who Agatha really is. But of course he admits he never trusted her to begin with. So I'm still uncertain who that trial was meant for. It could be a failed trial of Agatha's. So Agatha might possibly go to another trial. I mean, before they went into the Iron Maiden, Lilia told Agatha, "When she calls you a coward, hit the deck." So, what is that? Everything she's said so far has implied something that she was privy to. So, at least while on the road. So, I wonder if she knows that she's going to come back, or if she knows that someone is going to protect her against Rio. And it's just a question of who. Is it going to be Billy? Is it going to be Alice? Is it going to be one of the Salem Seven who didn't get impaled? Is it going to be someone that we didn't even expect? Like, Billy's desire for the end of the road is Tommy. So whether Tommy goes zipping at Rio or what. So now I'm curious what's going to happen. Now, this was episode 7, like I said, so I think there's 2 more. And they're both going to air on Halloween, which, duh, of course, that's fitting. And so, yeah, I'm really curious. I guess there has to be one more trial. And I don't I don't know if it's supposed to be Billy's or Agatha's. Agatha failed her trial. So, which is why she didn't get any power. I mean, what little power she had was probably whatever she was absorbed from Alice. So, is she going to get another trial? Or is there going to be a trial for Billy, who was initially supposed to be part of the coven, and nobody realized it until last episode? So, yeah, 2 episodes left, both on Halloween. So, I will try to get through both of them on All Saints Day, November 1st. Because, again, they're going to be coming out together. So I'm not going to do both of them at the same time. Just like the first week, I'm going to do one and then another. Trying to think if there's anything I'm missing from this episode. I think I pretty much covered everything. So, yeah, I hope that Billy gets what he wants. So we see Tommy. I'm unsure whether I want Agatha to get her powers back, because it seems like she's embracing her witchiness. I mean, she even said the Wicked Witch of the West was based on her. Which, nobody should be surprised. She's the Wicked Witch of the West, because when they were riding on the brooms, the way the clouds formed over her head was like a witch's hat. So I don't know. I mean, I wanted to get her powers because I'm hoping that she'll become more like comic book Agatha Harkness. But at the same time, she's... I don't give her a lot of sympathy. I mean, she's not a very sympathetic character. The others are, but she, not really. It's fun seeing her with Rio, but still. So I'm not sure. So it maybe one will be for Agatha, a retrial for Agatha, and one will be for Billy, and that's how it ends, that they end while they're still on the road, and they don't go back. I'm really, really worried about what's going to happen to Eddie, because I'm worried that Agatha mentioned last episode that he broke the rules by entering an empty husk. Well, the only way to bring Tommy back is to do the same thing. So I'm really, really worried that he's going to be punished for breaking the rules and possibly breaking them again to bring back Tommy. So I'm worried about what's going to happen to Eddie. Some people suggest he's actually Teddy and that he's going to be Hulkling, which I would be fine with. I have no problem with that. But if he was going to be that, why name him Eddie? I mean, this could be another misdirect, and that's why, but I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, I think that is all I have for this episode, and with that, I will see you guys in the next video.